just going to give you a quick overview of the Scribblar WordPress plugin. So I've already installed the plugin on this WordPress site. It's a very standard WordPress site, and I'm logged into the WordPress admin interface as an administrator. So the first thing we'll notice if you click on users is that there is a Scribblar role indicated on the right, and there's a column that would say whether that user exists on the Scribblar system or not. So really you always want this to show yes, and how to get there I will show in a moment. So as an administrator you would add tutors and student accounts on this screen. So let's create a new user here. Let's create a student, for example. So we call this student 1. We just create a dummy email address and dummy password. The role depends on how you want this user to access WordPress. So generally speaking, if it's a student, just leave the role as subscriber, but this really depends on your WordPress setup. So we'll just leave it as at the default for now. So we add this new user. So this user is now created, but he doesn't yet exist on the Scribblar system. So we just click the copy to Scribblar button, and then we'll ask what this user should, what role that user should have once they enter the Scribblar room. So for a tutor, you'd probably leave it as administrator. For a student, it depends. You could probably set it as moderator or one of the participant roles. But let's just pick a participant role. Depending on the role, they would have different privileges once they are in the Scribblar room. So they're explained down here. So we add this user to the Scribblar, and then we're done. So basically now we've got a student set up in the system, and if we go to the rooms page, and this is the screen where you would create Scribblar rooms, we can now access one of the Scribblar rooms, and you will notice I'm currently logged in as administrator to the WordPress site. So now I will be logged into this room as the WordPress admin. So the student would log into the website as a student, would then access the room, and they would show up not as an admin, they would show up as a participant role. So as you can see, it's very seamless, and that's basically how you create users and add them to the system. In terms of rooms, you can easily create new rooms here. So if you wanted to assign a particular room to a particular tutor, you could do that. So you just create a room, and then you tell that tutor, okay, you should always be using this room, and tutor B should be using another room. Or maybe you just have a room per subject that you teach. It's totally up to you, and it's very flexible. The key takeaway here is that you can quite easily add new users to the system. You can give them different roles depending on if they're a tutor or a student, and you can also create new tutoring rooms and delete them and modify them. So I hope that gives you a quick overview of how the WordPress plugin works.